everybody. Welcome to Hump Day DCU Daily. It is, in fact, Wednesday, and we got all sorts of treats for you in this wonderful little DCU Daily. Obviously, we got to start off with a little bit of box office report because, you know, something big is coming out, the grandiose return to Star Wars, so we got to talk about it even in the middle of the week. And then we have MCU Weekly, a little bit of that, more Doomsday teases, of course. Got some movie talk madness, some trailers got released, as well as some more stuff in regards to the whole Paramount WB thing, as well as some Netflix stuff. And then we have our quick hits, our wonderful quick hits, and then a bunch of stuff in regards to DCU Daily. We have a good amount today. We have a little bit of the tizzy between Snyder and Gunn. We have a little bit of what did Snyder say and what did Gunn say. And then, of course, talking about Millie Alcock's, experience on Supergirl and how it prepared her for all sorts of fun and not so fun things in regards to being in such a big role. So we will be talking about that, as well as we have confirmation that Christopher Cantwell is going to be coming into Lanterns, so we will be talking about that. And then, finally, we have some major set photos in regards to the Batman Part 2. So, let's get to it. Let's talk about all the things, have some fun, do some rants, maybe other fun things, but let's just get this party started before, a good segue.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. Number two.
All right, mister, I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding. You're kidding. I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne.
I like that. You're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see Corbin.
Right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
What
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much.
Oh, wow! Wow!
All right. Here we go, ladies and gents. We are going to start the news for today. I am John. Lovely to see Caleb in the chat. Thank you for joining us, as well as anybody else in the chat that's a little bit too scared to say anything. Maybe they're just lurking, but that's all right. You don't have to say anything in the chat. Just, give us a like. We appreciate it. But you know who else would appreciate it even more than me? Dan would appreciate it. I think so. Dan, would you appreciate one of the lurkers giving us a like to make sure we pump up those algorithmic numbers?
No, I would. I think that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, to think about it for a sec. I was like, what the fuck did you just say? I'm like, yeah, I
we're gonna, there's John. We're gonna get. Look, I remember the summer of Superman. And I know it's the summer of Supergirl, and we will talk about Supergirl later, but I feel like we're kind of going back to like the heights of DCU Daily from 2 years ago now, when we were talking about all those set photos, because baby, they're coming out now. The Batman 2 set photos, that's gonna be my favorite part of the show later on. We're gonna get into that, and there's quite a bit that we gotta get into. They're filming in Liverpool again. In fact, they're doing some very specific kind of filming this week that we will talk about. So excited for that. But of course, we got a lot more to get into before we get that far. So including Marvel news and the box office, John. I feel like that's where we should begin. The box office report, as it were.
Got to talk about Mando, because this is the way. Or maybe not the way. I don't know. But we've been talking about this for a while, how we're kind of in the realm of like $80 million opening for Mandalorian and Grogu, although now having the complete title of Star Wars, The Mandalorian and Grogu, even though I think they just kind of tacked that on. Hopefully, it's like, oh, they don't know what
marketing.
Mandalorian is. Okay, we got to tack on Star Wars so people know what the fuck
it's a
we're talking
marketing
about.
thing. That
So
definitely feels
got to have
like
that brand recognition
Yeah.
there. But yeah, it's even though we've been talking about the mixed reactions because the embargo lift a couple days ago now. It's still it's still fucking Star Wars, bro. It's still Star Wars. It's not gonna make huge bucket loads of money like the Skywalker saga, but it's $80 million is still a pretty good opening number, especially with how like literally 80 million
No,
opening
you're right.
weekend is literally more than the entire like box office gross of fucking Mortal Kombat 2 right now. So like,
Is it? It's not that bad, but I see what you mean.
I meant domestic. I meant more domestic, but yeah.
Well, look, what it comes down to, for any movie, for most movies, this would be a great opening weekend. 80 million plus in the US. And I mean, internationally, it will do more. So it's not like overall it's going to make probably a couple of 100 million opening weekend. And that's fine. But I'm just going to say for most movies, this would be great. For a Star Wars movie, it's very much on the low end. In fact, it might be the lowest opening weekend of any Star Wars movie ever, or one of, certainly. Especially if you account for, inflation. But it's also comes at a time when Star Wars kind of like, between this, Starfighter, and Ahsoka season 2, that's the only three things that are currently, on the horizon for this franchise. So Star Wars is in a bit of a transition period to just have Dave Filoni and Lin-Manuel Brennan take over from Kathleen Kennedy. I'm sure they have their plans. They'll probably reveal them sooner than later. Maybe at Comic-Con this year in July in San Diego, or maybe they do it at Star Wars Celebration next April. But until then, the Mandalorian and Grogu kind of has to be the flag bearer. By the way, hello Derpy, and we will get into the Lego Batman review. John is going to be talking about that later in the show. But as I was saying, John, it's not a bad start for most movies, right? It will be one of the best starts of the year so far for any movie, period. But the question will be ultimately for this movie, like I was talking about it the other day, like, does it have legs? Does it do well with the critics? I don't know where the Rotten Tomato score sits. The last time we talked about it was 61%, so it was like right on the edge in terms of being fresh and rotten by Rotten Tomato standards. The audience ratings will be interesting to see. Ultimately, The Mandalorian and Grogu is for Lucasfilm and Star Wars what Superman was last year for DC and DC Studios. It's gotta bring back the fandom. It's gotta like earn back the trust of the critics, and just anybody that goes and sees it, they have to have a good time at the movies. They don't need to reinvent the wheel here. They just need to give us a good, enjoyable Star Wars film that moves the needle on some level. It doesn't need to be a $1 billion movie. Even if it makes 500-600 million, I think it would be plenty. Even if it falls under that mark, as long as it's well received, I think that's what matters more than anything. But we'll see. There's been a couple movies this year, including Michael that we talked about. What was the other one? Devil Wears Prada 2. Both of them way over indexed any projections that were coming in going into their opening weekends. Now, of course, they're predicting around 80 or so million domestic over the course of the Memorial Day 4-day weekend. Some exhibitors, like the movie theaters themselves, are thinking it could come in as high as 100 million. So it is possible that it does better than we expect it to, and it is Star Wars. So ultimately, at the end of the day, I would expect that the odds of any movie doing better than its projections, a Star Wars movie, would be up there. Disney, for their part, expects the movie to earn around 160 million or more worldwide in its opening weekend. So yeah, it's pretty much coming out everywhere around the world minus South Korea. And it's already got $25 million in domestic pre-sales, which is great. That's a good number. But you know what? The movie will have to do the talking, and like I said, I don't think this movie needs to be the runaway hit that every Star Wars movie has been, for the throughout the decades for Lucasfilm. Virtually every Star Wars movie. But as long as it's good and it brings the fans back to the theaters for a Star Wars movie, and the critics seem to sort of like it, but then again, critics' reactions I don't think are as important as the fans, and of course fans will vote with their dollars. So
Yep.
We'll have to just wait and see. I'm gonna go see it, so we'll talk about it. I'm sure Liz is gonna talk about it. Liz will be back next week, and she'll be, I'm sure, talking about this amongst many other movies. So we'll review it, and yeah, I mean, it's not it's not the blockbuster of the year, but it certainly could be one of the better ones. So good luck to Mando and Grogu.
Yeah. In terms of another iconic duo that we need to wish good luck to is most definitely ya boys, Tony Stark and Steve Rogers, in the upcoming Avengers Doomsday for, the start of MCU Weekly. A very short MCU Weekly, but still here nonetheless.
Yeah.
During
So
a new video
yeah,
interview shared on the duo's Agbo YouTube
Agbo.
page,
Yeah.
directors Joe and Anthony Russo described Doomsday as a complete reinvention while indicating that fans are not prepared for what awaits them this December. What Marvel's done better than anybody in history is that serialized storytelling at scale, and Doomsday is a complete reinvention. It's another swing. I don't think the audience is expecting it at all. What happens in the movie and its tone and its subject matter, but I'm hoping it feels like another profound shift for them in that serialized story. Reinvention does not mean
So
reboot, but we shouldn't be surprised if the MCU did seem like a
okay,
very different place following the
but
events
hold on.
of Secret Wars.
Now let's pause there for a moment, because then we'll
Yeah.
go through this rest of this, because what they're saying is basically the MCU's strengths have always been serialized storytelling, which is how cinematic universe works. Like, these things connect. You're watching one thing that will somehow connect to the next thing, and then two things later you'll see like some some of the all the pieces come together, and that's how you get like those big crossovers and whatnot, which is great. That's great, but you got to remember, Steve Rogers traveled back in time, gave up the shield. Tony Stark died in Avengers Endgame. So now what we're gonna get to next is gonna be interesting, because if the Russo brothers are talking about, the dynamic of Tony Stark and Steve Rogers continuing, I don't know what that means, John, for like Doomsday and Secret Wars. But like, let's go ahead and if you don't mind, walk us through what the rest of the article and what the Russo brothers said in that video.
But they said that Tony Stark and Steve Rogers remain very empathetic and rootable, and you'll see to this day people are divided over who was more relatable in Civil War. I don't think either of them were, but that's beside the point. It's very much this sort of unresolved aspirations of those characters and flaws. Okay, hang on, I just got whiplash. It's very much this sort of unresolved aspiration of those characters and flaws of those characters. Okay. It continues to unfold as we move into Doomsday. So it's very much like beating around the bush, being kind of vague, being kind of generic, just like it'll be different but the same. That's essentially the vibe I'm getting with this.
But like what they're saying is like the complete reinvention part feels like they're saying we're going to turn a page on the MCU. The other part, if they're talking about Tony Stark and Steve Rogers story arc and like that dynamic continuing, John, do you think they gave away a bit too much here? Because they've said it before that you'll find out why Robert Downey Jr. is the only person who could have played this version of Doctor Doom, without saying as much as this is a variant of Tony Stark. In fact, I believe there might have even been a direct denial of that before. But my question to you would be like, is this actually hinting at the idea that Doctor Doom, Victor Von Doom, that we're going to get introduced to, is somehow connected to Tony Stark? And obviously we know Steve Rogers is back, the OG Steve Rogers, not like a variant Steve Rogers. Because that would be, because you know what, that to me completely recontextualizes how this movie is going to play out. Because we thought this was going to be like, oh yes, it's about the Fantastic Four, it's about the X-Men, it's about the Avengers taking on Doctor Doom, because we had all moved past Steve Rogers and Tony Stark in the MCU. But now Steve Rogers is back, after having kids and having the family and the whole, and the picket fence and all that. And now it seems like maybe RDJ is playing Doctor Doom for more than just because they needed a great actor to play Doctor Doom. It might actually connect more directly to his Iron Man roots. So do you feel like this is, because my fear is they're gonna go too revisionist and too much of the like nostalgia stuff, and that's gonna, instead of turning the page on the MCU, it's gonna feel like we're just revisiting old tropes, and you're gonna get those member berries, and people will cheer for that. But I don't know how this, like, and again, not having seen the movie, I don't know how this will set up the future of the MCU more so than revisit what we have already, been through in the past.
Right. Well, it's just I don't know. It just I feel like all of it's like kind of just vague right now. I don't think they really revealed anything major. It's just like, hey, it's the same but different. It's different but the same. So that's all I'm really getting from this. And I will say this, this is going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy coming from me, Dan, but honestly, if you had to put a gun to my head and say what would you rather watch right now, Civil War or BVS? I'd say BVS. Like, both not good movies. At least BVS is like kind of entertaining. I don't care what anybody says. Civil War is fucking dog shit. That is like one of the worst
You think
fucking
so?
MCU movies of all time. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. It's like, oh, who was right? Neither of them were right. They both suck dicks. Tony Stark was being an egotistical douche canoe, like always. Cap was maybe kind of sort of right, but who was right? Who? Neither of them were. Neither of them were. They both sucked. End of story. Like, don't act like, oh, it's like peak because people are still debating about it. It's like, no, dumbasses are still debating about it who don't have fucking critical thinking skills. That's what it is. Anyway, side tangent. But with all that, I think this is just like a vague oh, we're doing new things, we're having these ideas, it's going to be a reinvention, it's going to feel the same. It's just
Hey,
like, I don't know, it
Grogu.
just feels like
Hi,
corporate
Grogu.
buzzwords at this point.
Yeah.
Grogu is back, guys. Yes.
Yes, Anthony Mackie
everything is right
still
in the
Cap.
world.
And you know what? You just missed the Mandalorian and Grogu part of the conversation. But yes, Anthony Mackie's Sam Wilson is still the Captain America. Steve Rogers is back. I don't know if he's
Steve
gonna
Rogers
go by
back.
the.
He's probably like gonna go by Nomad or whatever the fuck else.
But like, it's like, Thor is gonna still probably call him Cap, or maybe he'll call him Steve. I don't know.
I see you've copied my beard.
You copied my beard. Yeah. I love the gesture, like, see you copy my beard. It's like great. No, it's just I guess what I was trying to get. Look, by the way, I think Civil War is a pretty good movie. I also think BVS is a good movie. I enjoyed both of them. BVS
and by the way, I
problems,
would like to make the distinction: the Ultimate Edition. That should be obvious, but I'm gonna make. I mean, here's the thing:
better.
BVS isn't good, but it's I mean, it's better than Civil War. I'll fucking.
No, well, look, I think the Civil War. The thing about Civil War is, if you watch, it's really well made. It's really, I think, probably the Russo brothers is one of their. I personally think it's just the strength of the divide. It's almost like
the problem I have with it. The problem I had with it is like what is also a big problem in BVS is that it's a fucking mess of a movie. Like, what's the main plot of this movie? Like, I feel like, oh, it's this, oh, it's that, oh, it's like, what's the main plot here? And then I feel like there are a lot of characters acting out of character for the sake of the plot. Then it's just like the idea that there's supposed to be some deeper meaning between these two characters when it doesn't feel like that at all. It just feels very surface level. Plus, the fucking plan of Zemo is dog shit. By the way, everyone's like, oh, he's like a fucking genius. The amount of plot conveniences and magical things to work for this plan to, like, maybe be... I'm going to say this. People make fun of Jesse Eisenberg's plan in BVS. I'm sorry, but that's... Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor.
It was very...
That made more fucking sense than Zemo's plan in Civil War. Because... Zemo's plan, just the amount of plot conveniences and plot contrivances that needed to happen to make that plan work is so dumb. And I'm not going to lie, that Eisenberg, Lex Luthor, his plan wasn't relied on a lot of plot conveniences, but I'll say it makes a hell of a lot more fucking sense. And I'll take that over whatever the fuck Zemo was trying to do. And I got nothing against Daniel Brühl. I think he did a good job. His dancing skills, obviously.
Not from the movie, but yes.
It's great. Yeah. Wrong. I know it's not from the movie, but like that's the one thing he has right now. But you know, it's just I don't know. I just have I have so many problems with Civil War, and I'm so sick of people acting like it's greater than it actually is, and it's really not.
I feel like we should do a whole podcast comparing the two movies and really get into it, because this is, I want to have.
And by the way, if it wasn't for
this,
BVS, Civil War wouldn't fucking exist, because Marvel openly admitted to ripping off the idea of BVS once it got announced. So shut your ass up. Anyway.
Yeah. But okay, before we get sidetracked any further, because I would love to go back and forth, and I feel like there's a lot to get into.
Anyway.
Yeah, no worries, Brian. They are two. Well, they're
Winter Soldier's the good one with Robert Redford.
Anyway,
that's all you need to know.
But talking about Avengers, Doomsday, Avengers, Secret Wars, it is a little concerning to me that they're hinting that the Tony Stark, Steve Rogers vibe, that whole feud, is going to potentially continue. So the Russo brothers kind of talking about that makes me wonder if there's more to the idea that, RDJ playing Doom has more to do with Tony Stark than we realize. Again, obviously Steve Rogers is back. I just wonder if that is going to be the center focus of these movies, then are we really moving the plot forward for the MCU? So we'll see how it all ends up working out. But you know what, the Russo brothers, they haven't from a financial standpoint, they haven't missed yet in the MCU. Like, the 4 movies they've made have all gone on to make a shit ton of money in the technical term. So hopefully, Marvel will be okay, but we'll see. They were saying in that interview they're getting ready to go into production on Secret Wars. So I think they're meant to be doing Doomsday reshoots, and then Secret Wars will start production soon. So yeah, and then Doomsday comes out in a few months' time. So we'll talk about it, of course, the rest of the year. But until then, there's one other Marvel
Spider-Man
story. Yeah,
Godspeed,
there's one
Spider-Man.
other Marvel story.
Anyway,
Speaking of
Amazing
Civil
Spider-Man,
War,
1000 revealed Ravage debuts in biggest issue in Spider history. I highly doubt that. The countdown to one of the biggest milestones in comic book history has begun. This September, Marvel Comics will probably present the 1000th issue of Amazing Spider-Man, and the company is pulling out all the stops to make it one of the grandest comics it's ever published. Here's the thing, though: is it gonna be good? Which, short answer, no, it won't, because Marvel hasn't made a good Spider-Man comic in like decades. So.
Fair enough.
I would argue that Spider-Man, comic side, it sucks since Clone Saga. So
but isn't this part of Noah Hawley making his Marvel Comics debut? Isn't that what?
Yeah, but I mean, it also has Frank Miller in there and Dan Slott and Brian Michael Bendis, and it's like, let's not talk about that.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see. There's certainly got some big names in there, but I guess.
I mean, here's the thing: the closest we've ever gotten to a good Spider-Man comic is when he crossed over with Superman, and that's only because a bunch of DC people were writing it. Outside of Tom King, of course, his story sucked, but that's just how it be. Okay. But yeah, but that's it for MCU Weekly. Now we move on to Movie Talk Madness. Now we're talking about greatness, Dan. We're talking about greatness, the greatness of Eternia, because Masters of the Universe is coming soon. It's in a couple weeks now, and we got a final trailer, which is usually the case. That's usually like 2-3 weeks before the release date. And Dan, I want to know your thoughts on this. I'm curious because I'm still excited, but I feel like you're even more excited for this than I am. So I want to know your thoughts on the trailer.
Look, the other day we were talking about how the reactions from the premiere were saying this movie kind of feels like it's self-aware in the way that Guardians of the Galaxy was.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me was like all I needed to hear for any doubts to finally go away. And watching this trailer, I definitely feel it now.
What's going
I can see the vibe.
on? Thank you.
Hi, Eric. And yes,
I
please
understand
do
that reference.
Yeah, please do smash the like button, everybody, and welcome on in the chat, Eric. But I was gonna say, I love this trailer. This trailer is fantastic. I love it. I love this. There's some self-aware moments, there's some moments of levity and humor that very much feels like that Marvel James Gunn brand of humor. At the same time as you see some really over-the-top shit, and then you get to see how some of it is grounded in ultimately He-Man the character, and you get to see a little more of him on Earth, but then they focus largely on Eternia, and Skeletor looks great. And you know what, honestly, if they're able to sort of create that grounding in the beginning of the movie where there is some sense of reality this movie clings on to, and then is aware of how over the top crazy batshit wild Eternia is, then I can easily just sit through and watch and enjoy the rest of the movie for what it is. And that's what this trailer told me about the film. And so if I had to give it a rating, this trailer, this final trailer for Masters of the Universe, some of the CGI looks a little like underbaked, but outside of that, I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10. I'm very excited for this. The only reason I don't give it a higher rating than that is because I didn't grow up with He-Man, so it's not really hitting me in the nostalgia the same way that it would hit somebody who grew up with this. But it looks like a really fun time at the movies, and I wouldn't mind sitting at, in a movie theater for a couple of hours just having fun. This looks like a great summer blockbuster. It just feels like a movie that you just, it's meant for the summer movie season. So, yeah, I'm excited, and yeah, there's a lot of, action-packed moments that I'm looking forward to now.
Yeah, I thought it was a good trailer. Just it's kind of mostly just stuff we've, seen before. It's mostly that, which is,
I mean, but this late
that's
in the
usually
game,
the case.
yeah.
Like, I feel like
Yeah.
there's one of two types of final trailer. Either it spoils the entire movie, or it reveals nothing. So in regards to that, yes, we don't get a ton of new footage. We get a little bit of Skeletor. We get a little bit more Skeletor, but we usually don't get a lot more new footage. But honestly, I will take that, even though this is going to be very predictable. It's a fucking He-Man movie. Like, we're not expecting much,
Yeah.
like, in terms of, like, grandiose, like, twists and turns. But even with all that, it was still a fun trailer. As I said, the first trailer, the first announcement when it was like, oh, it's going to take place on Earth, I'm like, oh, this is going to suck. First trailer, I really didn't care for. It was so abhorrently, like, it was too cheesy. I didn't like it. Luckily, that second trailer won me over, and this trailer I liked as well. I'm not, like, foaming at the mouth, pumping at the bit, nothing like that. Oh my god, this is my most anticipated of the year, blah blah blah. No, I mean, if we're talking about that, then Evil Dead Burn is my go-to in terms of for the rest of the year. Since Obsession was one of my most anticipated, and that already came out. Go see Obsession. Evil Dead Burn is probably in the back half of the year, along with Clayface. But this is still a good trailer. Like, I like again, they're hiding everything with the fact that this is Jared Leto, and that was the best course of action. So that was good. That's not saying much, but thanks for the super chat. But still, but yeah, this looks like a ton of fun. I'm loving the fucking Daniel Pemberton score with Brian May. Like, that just sounds sounds so 80s. It sounds, I mean, Queen did Flash Gordon, so it's cool that Brian May is coming back to do like this very 80s type movie, because they already did it for, Flash Gordon. Flash. Anyway. But yeah, this looks like a ton of fun. Very colorful, which I do like. I will agree with you that the CGI is a little still kind of half-baked, but like, it's a little forgivable because it kind of adds to the charm of it. Like, He-Man is so inherently fucking cheesy and so corny that it kind of, I know maybe that's me like being too forgiving of this. I don't know, but like, it kind of adds to the cheese factor that I liked.
Right.
But the humor doesn't seem too bad. Like, the action scenes look good. I love how the sincerity of like, yeah, Fisto, and I'm like, don't say that too loud, bro. Like, just like, who thought that was? And I love, like, because the thing is, I'm with you. I don't know a lot about He-Man. I know like very general things. Like, I've seen a bit of the '80s movie, and I've seen like bits and pieces here and there, but like, I don't know a lot about it. Just like, it kind of mixes medieval with sci-fi. So I'm like, medieval fantasy with sci-fi. So like, I know that, but that neck guy, what the fuck is up with that?
Financiality.
I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I can't judge it. But they tried with what I mean. It was because the thing is, canon was like it throughout like the back half of the '80s when they were kind of trying not to go bankrupt. They were trying to make like their next big movie, Life Force, Superman 4, Masters of the Universe. They were really trying to create like a big, and Masters of the Universe was one of those movies, but scheduling and production problems really inhibited that. So I feel like that was one of the biggest factors as to why that didn't work, as well as like doing the whole thing of like, oh, they're they're doing the fish out of water story by having it take place on Earth, which kind of blows. So at least we're getting, for the most part, Eternia. Like he actually is
Right.
going there,
Yeah.
and we're doing that. So yeah.
Well, just some geeky guys just completely ragging on Mortal Kombat all the way through. Anyway, no, but I mean everything you just look, there's nothing wrong with a movie having cheese, especially, and not like
Yeah.
literally, but like especially at the summer box office. Sometimes people just want to go turn their brains off, want to have fun at the movies, walk out, move on with their life, you know? And it seems like this movie is exactly built to be that. It's built to be a summer box office movie where you go and have fun. It's not gonna really change your life. Maybe it will for some people, but like for the most part, it won't. It's just it's designed to be hopefully a good time at the movies, and then if it does well enough, maybe they'll make more of them. And you could really tell that this is the kind of franchise that I just got the feeling that if Amazon wasn't throwing all the money in the world at it, I don't think another studio would kind of give it this kind of an earnest shot where they're like, you know what? Spared no expense, because it feels like they really didn't spare no expense with this movie, from the cast to the VFX to the scope of the movie, the scale of it. I mean, Nicholas Galtazine looks like freaking He-Man. Like, I mean, at this point, there was no doubt in my mind that, not only did they get the right guy for the job, at least from a physique standpoint, but they put him to his paces, and the man looks about as close to somebody looking like He-Man who can also still at the same time act in the movie.
Maybe something.
So yeah.
Hang on, let me look it up.
You know what, He-Man I believe is being made for around 200 odd million, something like that.
Around 200 million, another 50-ish million for marketing.
Which is
probably around 500 to break
scale.
even.
Yeah, like for a movie of this scale, the fact that they're only spending 50 odd million on the marketing is great. So yeah, I mean, 500 not to break even. I would say 500 would be profitable. It probably needs to make like 400 to 450 to break even, because movie theaters tend to keep somewhere between 60 and 70%. It averages out of the box office take. So if you do the math on it, to break even, you're looking at somewhere over 400 million. If it makes 500 million, it's profitable theatrically. But look, Amazon has said not in the too distant past that they look at the movies and what they do at the box office for them as more of a bonus, because really where they account for the movie's success is on streaming, on Amazon Prime. But then, they also put Project Hail Mary on digital and on physical media. So I'm sure they will reap the rewards of putting this movie out on digital and physical media before they eventually put it on streaming. But yeah, I mean, for Amazon, they still, from a business standpoint, don't necessarily look at like theatrical as being the main avenue of return on your investment, which is fine. But I mean, the rest of Hollywood still looks at that. So anywhere over 400 million, I bet you it's going to be profitable. But that still could be a high bar to clear. Not the movies don't do that as a given anymore. So we'll have to just wait and find out. But that trailer certainly, I think, did its job of getting me more excited. And I didn't even grow up on He-Man, so I've never seen the OG one either. So this would be my first He-Man Master of the Universe experience at the box office. So yeah. But anyway, John, we got to move on. We got another documentary to talk about now.
Yeah.
Speaking of Michael Jackson, I mean, of course, Michael has crossed $700 million at the box office, and it's currently one of the highest grossing movies of the year. Could it make $1 billion? We don't know yet. They definitely look like they are working on a sequel, but of course, Netflix, I bet you this is not a coincidence. Timing out.
No, it is not a fucking. Let's bleed another dead man dry.
Yet another Michael Jackson documentary. Of course, what was it? The something from Neverland.
Leaving Neverland.
That documentary, I think, got taken off HBO recently, if I remember correctly. But Michael Jackson: The Verdict is set to be released.
This is about the 2005 trial, I believe,
which he was acquitted as part of that. But this documentary will.
Like there was like evidence and something like that. But,
So, June 3rd it comes out. I saw the trailer. It's literally everything that Michael the movie is not, and very much on purpose. So if there's, they know when I say they, I mean like, people in Hollywood, storytellers, Netflix, they know there's an audience out there that either didn't go to see Michael or very much is interested in the other side of the story that Michael did not talk about. So,
Yeah.
and given how sanitized that movie's story is, this will, if you have the itch
Yeah,
to
I
look
mean,
into
but there's
the
only so
dark
much you
side of
can
Michael
show,
Jackson's
but like,
career,
yeah, it's
yeah,
just I don't watch this kind of crap because like there's
yeah.
been pretty much no evidence except for a bunch of hearsay from alleged witnesses that that said for years, nope, nothing happened, and then all of a sudden when the money ran out, it's like, oh no, shit happened. It's like that doesn't okay. So I'm just not interested
Hey,
in sort of.
Steven.
It's just like Michael Jackson is one of those figures that's gonna just be like the corpse is just gonna keep getting dug up like every 5 or so years. People are gonna smack it around, and then it's not gonna do anything because all it is just either circumstantial or literally nothing. So it's just, yeah, as Caleb said, same old slop. And that's all it is. I don't agree with
It's
it.
definitely
Maybe
very
I'm the asshole.
opportunistic.
Maybe I'm wearing blinders. I don't know. Maybe I bought into the Michael Jackson fame. But for me, I have not seen any shred of actual evidence that he did anything. So I think you know,
Look, I'm not somebody who's necessarily drawn to these documentaries either, so I'm probably not gonna watch it. But yeah, Steven, you're right. The timing of this is definitely not a coincidence, and I'll be surprised if there's not more stuff like this that comes out within the next 18 months or so, because especially if they're gonna work on a sequel to Michael, it's just, there's gonna be a lot of people that will watch it on Netflix, and Netflix knows that. So, yeah. But anyway, yeah, let the damn man rest, to a certain degree. Um, not wrong about that either, just some geeky guy. But yeah, let's move on, because John, now we got to talk about your favorite Hollywood producer, Damon Lindelof, who was talking about not just Lantern. Well, he's been talking about Lanterns a lot recently, but in his most recent interview, he opened up a lot about how he got fired from his Star Wars movie at Lucasfilm, and
damn,
that
it could have
apparently
been
could have
worse.
involved plans for Rey, and Poe, and Finn, like those characters continuing on in maybe a future trilogy of movies, which I don't know if that's still gonna ever happen. But Don, you want to walk us through this, because I'm sure
Yeah.
we got lots to get through here. Hi,
So,
Jordan.
while doing stuff for like Lanterns and an interview with the Ringerverse, Lindelof reflected on this. Um, he's saying that his idea would have been akin to the Protestant Reformation inside Star Wars.
Oh
Just to
wow.
talk about the bantha in the room, I was fired off of a Star Wars movie. They asked me, "What do you think a Star Wars movie should be?" And I said, "Here's what it should be." And they said, "Great, you're hired." And then 2 years later, I was fired. And so I was wrong, at least through that prism. But what we were attempting to do, my partners Justin Britt Gibson and Raina McClendon and I, what we were attempting to do was have this conversation in the movie, which is to say, there is a force of nostalgia and there is a force of revision, and they are at odds with one another, and let's do the Protestant Reformation inside Star Wars, and it didn't work. You have your cake and eat it too, but the conversation that the fandom is having without winking and looking at the audits, and that didn't feel necessarily that risky. Lucasfilm seemed to like the premise. The writing was really hard and slow. The tone getting it right, where it was inside the canon, what its relationship was to Episode 9. Is it starting a new trilogy? All those things. They're so massive. They're so big. We got the sense that when this new trilogy was over, we were going to be launching with these new characters, and that was the center of Star Wars. The question is, are Mando and Grogu the center of Star Wars now? So,
Huh.
yeah, just a lot of like weird fucking ideas. Um,
I don't know if I'm glad this didn't happen, or if I'm morbidly curious that they should have gone down this route, because look, the only thing in all of that made sense to me is that they were going to focus on those three characters that they should have focused on a lot more in the sequel trilogy with Poe, Finn, and Rey. It should have been their movies. It ended up just becoming like a convoluted mess of nostalgia and, too much of a focus on, like, we got to bring back the OG cast in some way and give each of them a movie to focus on. Um, and I mean, sure, those characters still ended up playing a big role in those movies, but I would have wished that, obviously that sequel trilogy would have played out a little bit better. Um, TROS? What's TROS? Thank you for the super chat, Justin Geeky Guy. You mean the return of
Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker? Okay. Well, I feel like considering I bet you if you give J.J. Abrams a second chance, he would have done things differently for
Yeah,
Rise of
David
Skywalker
Fincher
as well.
was, I think he was offered
Yeah.
this Force Awakens, but said no, and then he wanted to do Part 9, and then they said no. I think, or vice versa. I forget what it was, but yeah, he.
Not to mention Steven Soderbergh is like the hunt for Ben Solo. Like I feel like the what ifs of Lucasfilm Star Wars projects at this
Yeah.
point is, I still want to see the Patty Jenkins movie. Honestly, like I think that was a fantastic idea. But anyway, you know what? Good on you, Lindelof. You are probably one of a dozen different writers, directors who got hired and then fired by Kathleen Kennedy's regime at Lucasfilm because they first thought you had a great idea and then they saw a little bit more of it and thought, oh no, I don't think this is gonna work. And honestly, usually I would say like, okay, maybe Damon Lindelof's ideas are a little suspect, but in this case, considering Kathleen Kennedy's record when she was still in charge, and how many other creators came and went, and how many are still in limbo with Taika Waititi, as well as Kevin Feige and all those so many others that we've talked about before, either having projects still in limbo with Dave Filoni now in charge and Lyndon Brennan, or they got shut down like Damon Lindelof's idea. I don't blame Damon Lindelof here as much as I blame like the state of Lucasfilm. Like they shut down better ideas than what this sounds like to me. So I'm not surprised that he was somebody who they let go of a couple of years after him and his writing partners worked on something. I mean, a couple of years is a long time to invest in a project, and then you just get told, no, this is not what we're doing anymore.
I mean, that's just how it is. Like, it's not just it's like, oh, you worked with us for like 40 years by helping us and all this other stuff. Yeah, you're fired. That's just how it is for every job.
It happens.
Yeah. Even for, popular dudes like Damon Lindelof. Happens. You literally mean nothing to corporations. They don't fucking care about you, so don't break your back for them.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
You gotta be your own. You gotta be unfortunately your own brand, your own business, your own enterprise at this point. That's how it would be. Hey D Cole, how you doing, man? We're getting to the DC stuff soon, so don't you worry. But speaking of DC, the house of DC, the house of Warner Brothers, the house of Paramount, soon to be all one. Remember how we talked about a while ago that they got downgraded? The new Paramount got downgraded to a junk status credit rating because they're basically looking at like the amount of debt that new company, once Warner Brothers merges in, is going to carry. It's going to limit them so much. Well, now it looks like that same crediting agency has downgraded that junk status even further to reflect the major ongoing uncertainties, according to S&P Global, that will be in play after the merger gets completed with Paramount Warner Brothers coming together. I'm not surprised by this. I feel like some of this has to do with, not maybe all of it, but some of it has to do with, what's going on in the world at large. And then definitely some of it has to do with, again, the state of Hollywood right now, because investment in Hollywood in general is coming from fewer places right now, simply because some of those investment sources are spending their money on other things, like fighting missiles and drones that are attacking their country and all of those things. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what status is below junk status. I guess even more junk status. It is what 79 million. Oh no, not 79 million. 79 billion with a B dollars in debt. And some investors potentially pulling out. That's not good. But you know what? Then again, the Ellisons are all in on this, so they've dug themselves a hole and they have backed themselves to dig out of it. But it will take a while. And I'm not surprised by this at all. But it does mean that it will be harder for Paramount and Warner Brothers, once they are one company, to find, sources of funding for their projects and for other firms to give them credit, because that's what a credit rating does, from junk to maybe jank status, says Eric. Yeah. So yeah, tax write-offs. There may be more of those coming. We'll see what ends up, on the cutting room floor and what doesn't. But anyway, let's keep on going here. I don't think we need to spend too much time on this. We have covered this so much in depth before. In depth, I should say. But you know what, John? We do have some more Warner Brothers Paramount stuff to talk about. This is kind of adjacent because technically Lord of the Rings and Tomb Raider aren't really owned by Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers has the rights to the franchise. But they're apparently, the company that does own the franchises is apparently spinning them off. I don't know did you read into this at all? Because
not a ton, unfortunately.
So basically, the owner of Lord of the Rings, Embracer, it's in the headline, they're spinning off the Tolkien IP as well as other legacy properties, which includes Tomb Raider, into a separate holding company that they're going to call Fellowship Entertainment. This has been in the works for a while. I believe I read about this a while ago. So now this is actually happening. So the chair of the Embracer, Lars Wingefors, I think that's how you say his name, called the assets among the most undervalued in the industry. And then Fellowship Entertainment is going to be listed on NASDAQ Stockholm in 2027 to time with the company's notably stronger product pipeline that year, which of course will include you got Tomb Raider, the TV show coming out on Amazon Prime Video. You've got the Hunt for Gollum movie coming out from Warner Brothers. So they're gonna, basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to position the company as they're taking all this IP, spinning it off into its own company, and that's going to be an IP-led entertainment company that's going to focus on publishing, licensing, development of brands, including, of course, Lord of the Rings. You got The Hobbit, of course, to kind of treat it as its own thing, Kingdom Come Deliverance, Tomb Raider, and others that they have. So
gotcha.
It's kind of connected to Warner Brothers, but like I said, because Tomb Raider is also there, you're talking about like basically any studio, that's licensing their properties. This is, think of it like, Hasbro or Mattel, and their stuff like Transformers or Barbie and stuff like that. The Embracer would be that, and they're spinning off these onto themselves. Beyond that, I don't think this matters too much for most of us, because we don't really care about who owns the IP. We're just gonna go watch the movie or the TV show if we do that. So just wanted to bring it up. Eric saying, did you hear about the rumor about one of those games being axed altogether? I did not. That is interesting. Let us know where that's coming from. We will have to do some research on it. Maybe we can bring that in the fold on the next show, because John will be talking about one of those games product later in the show. But right now, John, I believe we got to talk about, usually when we talk about Warner Brothers and Paramount, right in the next breath we have to talk about Netflix. So let's do a little bit of that right now, because Cliff Booth, the Cliff Booth movie, The Adventures of Cliff Booth, that's of course going to feature the return of Brad Pitt in the titular role. Remember how Narnia was originally going to come out in Thanksgiving in IMAX, and then they moved it to next year, gave it a even longer theatrical release, like a proper theatrical, including IMAX exclusive release? Well, that same IMAX time slot is now being taken over by the Cliff Booth movie. So it's gonna have a 2-week exclusive IMAX window in Thanksgiving, and so it looks like Netflix was like, we're not gonna vacate those prime 2 weeks in IMAX. We're just gonna replace it with Cliff Booth. And John, this to me sounds like another check in the box of Netflix's loving this theatrical business thing that they're seemingly now starting to figure out, and it gives a lot of us a chance to see this movie on the big screen that otherwise would not be possible. So I like it. What do you think about this news?
I think that's pretty cool.
You sound like you're very excited for this.
I mean, I am excited for the movie. I mean, David Fincher directed Quentin Tarantino script. That is a fucking sentence I never thought I'd say in my entire life. The only thing less likely than that is David Fincher directing a superhero movie. So, but like, I guess stranger things have happened. So we'll see. I mean, to be fair, David Fincher directing a Batman movie would be a dream come true, but it'll never happen.
He already did direct a Batman. So, it's possible. It's possible.
It's not possible.
Sure. But this is great news. If you're a fan of the Once Upon a Time franchise, I guess you want to call it now, then you get to see it in theaters this Thanksgiving. So good on Netflix, again, embracing more of the theatrical business and doing it through IMAX, making it that more eventized approach that IMAX is going for. Netflix seems to be the perfect partner for it. So yeah, but you know what, John, Netflix is up to a lot of other things right now as well, because Adolescence director Philip Valentini,
Steve McQueen classic, getting remade.
So. The Getaway getting remade. over at Netflix. It's Peter Craig penning the script for the live action, well, the action crime thriller, I should say. Have you seen the original Getaway with Steve McQueen?
No, I have not.
But I mean, I don't. Well, he is Philip Barantini coming off Adolescence. He's one of the hot names right now in Hollywood, especially at Netflix. So, giving him a chance at this, this sounds interesting. This sounds genuinely like something that I would enjoy watching. Whether this will be a big movie that also plays in theaters and then does well on Netflix, or becomes the latest casualty of the terribleness of Netflix movies, we'll have to find out. But D. Cole saying, did you know that that is returning as Owen Grady for Jurassic World alongside Scarlett Johansson? Who is returning as Owen Grady for Jurassic World? Who was Owen Grady? You gotta tell us more, D. Cole. But thank you for the.
I think
comment.
Was that Jonathan Bailey? I don't know.
Was it?
I never fucking watched it.
I've not caught up to that movie yet. Every time I see the Snickers bar rapper, I thought, change my mind. Moving on to something else.
Speaking of moving on to something else, we have the last bit of movie talk madness. Apparently, the Super Mario Brothers movie directors Michael Jelenic and Aaron Horvath sign overall deal with Netflix.
That's not Lars Eidinger on the right. That's Aaron Horvath. Okay, sorry, they just have the same haircut. That looks like Lars.
Bruh. I mean, to be fair, all white people look the same, so
No, but like the hairdo anyway. But yeah, I mean, dude, these guys also worked on Teen Titans Go, right? They kind of created that show, and then the Super Mario Bros. Movies. So getting an overall deal with Netflix, that's great. Overall deals are really rare these days in Hollywood, so this means that they'll get to basically any idea they come up with, they go to Netflix with it. And unless Netflix says no, I mean, pretty much everything will be for Netflix. So it's got more of a guarantee than a first look deal, which even the Obamas just got their deal downgraded to a first look deal. But good on Michael and Aaron. So how dare you, John? Caleb takes offense to your comments, John. As a fellow white man, I imagine Caleb is offended. But anyway, cool. Good on Netflix. Those are two hot commodities in Hollywood right now, as far as directors go. Because, yeah, working with Illumination Entertainment, working with Warner Brothers Animation, now going to Netflix. Netflix is making good use of that money they got from Paramount, via Warner Brothers, for walking away from that deal, it looks like. But John, now, before we move on to the quick hits, I believe you have a bit of a review for us for
kind of maybe like the first
video game,
like hour and a half, but
okay.
It's not really movie talk, man. It's video game vendetta. I don't know. That was the first thing I came up with, but so I did play. I got the deluxe edition where I get 3-day early access to before all the plebs who got the standard edition. For Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight, and I will say, despite my PC turning into a jet engine lava pit, it is worth the hype. It pretty much blends everything that you want from the love child of Lego games and the Arkham games. It's I hope my camera isn't fucking up. Anyway, but so for me, I absolutely loved playing this. I only played a little bit. I played a little bit of Chapter 1, which was, we got a little bit of. So essentially, what I have played so far, my friend played already the entire story because he's like, I'm taking a week off work. I don't give a shit. I'm playing this entire game. I'm like, good for you. I don't have the time to do that. So I've only played a little bit, and I also don't want my PC to fucking explode. So there's that too. But I will say, so what I played a little bit is I played the backstory. I played essentially the extension of the tutorial, and then I played a little bit of the actual gameplay of it all. So essentially what I've played is, what we all came to expect with this is that they're essentially taking every movie and putting it on one floating timeline. Like in this case, I'll give it to you straight. What I played was with a little bit of animated series because the movie that the Waynes go see is the Gray Ghost, which is a reference to Batman the Animated Series, which I very much appreciated. So we had that, as well as but then the person that shoots the Waynes is Jack Napier instead of Joe Chill, much like in the original Batman 89 movie. And then but he's in cahoots with Carmine Falcone, much like how it kind of was in like Batman Begins / The Batman. So then we have that. Then we have the famous scene in Batman Begins where a younger Bruce Wayne, aka Christian Bale in a wig, goes to try and kill, I think it was Joe Chill, or I forget. It's been a long time since I've seen Batman Begins, but he goes off to try and kill somebody, and that's when he meets Ra's al Ghul, and then he's like, I can train you.
Well, he goes to like train, but yeah.
So essentially, that's what he does, is that he goes off to train with Ra's al Ghul, who is more comic accurate looking in this case, rather than, white dude with a Fu Manchu mustache like it was in Batman Begins. But essentially, they're using the Batman Begins, they're using that to like help you, like, this is how you do this thing. This is how you do a takedown. This is how you do things. But they're using it under the guise of like Bruce Wayne training under the League of Shadows. So I thought that was very cool. I liked how it was like how they utilized that. And then they introduced Talia, which, is a character that wasn't introduced till Dark Knight Rises, but again, a little bit more comic accurate. And then we have him like becoming Batman, like, I need to become something that, criminals will fear, and he becomes the Batman in The Batman. Like, he uses that suit. He teams up with Gordon, who is black in this version, much like, Jeffrey Wright's version. So we have that. So that's all I've played so far. I've played a little bit of that. There is a bit of an open world aspect to it. You can drive around Gotham City, which is really, I was fucking, oh my God. I was like, I was literally, because I was on a voice call with friends of mine, and I was literally giggling like a 12-year-old while playing this game when I was driving in the car all over Gotham City. I was using the boost, and oh my God, it was like feeling like a kid again, because I played so many of the Lego games. I played the original Lego Batman game, I played Lego Batman 2 a little bit, and I played Lego Star Wars, and Lego Pirates of the Caribbean, Lego Harry Potter, Lego Rock Band. I fucking got Rock Band and the instruments just so I could play Lego Rock Band. The live action version, it doesn't look like Turturro. It looks like, I think it's going off of more of the Batman Begins version / the comic version. I think that's the vibe they're going with. But yeah, it's
Wait, did you get to the part with Absolute Batman?
I haven't played enough of it. I'll keep giving you guys updates over it, because it's DC related, and I'm sure you guys want to talk about it for the people that haven't played the game yet or haven't played the deluxe edition yet. So I'll keep giving, because I'm going to be playing more tonight after I'm done here, because I just really want to play the game. So I got a bunch of the bat suits. You can make a WB Games account, which I did. I'm like, fuck it, I want this. Give me all the skins, baby. So I got the Golden Age skin, but you can actually also link your HBO Max account to get skins in the game. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. Luckily, well, to be fair, the thing is, I don't have my own HBO Max account. It's my dad's, so I don't want to link that. Like, I don't think he would mind, but like, even then, that's a little weird. But to be fair, I don't really like the skins that they have. I think it's like DC 1 million and then another one that looks kind of ugly, so it's like, whatever. But I got like the party pack, I got the Batman Beyond, I got the Golden Age. I think I got Dark Knight Returns, and then I unlocked some stuff while I was playing. I got the Batman Begins suit. This is the Lego version of the Absolute Batman suit. Yes, but I love the idea of like them. Thanks for the super chat. I like the idea of it being an entire floating timeline and how that will work. So I think that's really cool. Like trying to make 4 different canons and 12 different tones try to work with one timeline. Honestly, I think that's a really cool idea. And what I played of it, the gameplay is fun. It's typical Lego, but it has like a bit of an Arkham airbrush to it, I guess you could say. So I'm just curious how like Heath Ledger's Joker is, because they've already set up like it's going to be the Jack Nicholson Joker. So I'm curious with how they're going to make the Heath Ledger Joker work, and how that's going to be. But yeah, I'm going to be playing more of it tonight, and I can't wait because this game is already so much fun. The driving, it's a little clunky because the thing is I'm playing with a controller. I usually don't play a controller at my computer, so I just have to get used to it a little bit. But I managed to get used to it, and it's pretty good. But it's a little stiff, I would say. It's not like but it's not like a big part. It's not like GTA where it's like that's a big part of the game where you're pretty much doing that. Like 75% of the time is like driving places. So that's not the biggest part of the game. So it's a little like, so far I would say this is like a 9.5, 10 out of 10. Like it plays to my sensibilities as a big Lego fan. It plays to my sensibilities as a Batman fan, and it plays to my sensibilities as a guy who enjoys gaming that's not hard but not too easy. Like a little bit of challenge, a little bit of puzzle solving, but it's like it's a Lego game. Like it's just, I know that people are pissed about the optimization. I understand. And it sucks because it's just like if you have like a kind of living through, like if you have like a kind of okay PC and you don't have a console, then that can kind of suck. I get it. So, but for me, I can do it. It's just, it'll turn into a fucking jet engine. But yeah, I think it's great. For first impressions, for playing for a couple hours last night, it was pretty damn great. So yeah. Yeah, you do driving in this game, but not like Arkham Knight where you have to do stupid Riddler challenges with the Bat Tank. No, nothing like that. It's you're just driving around to various places, so it's really fun.
I really like the idea that they mixed all the flavors, and of Batman, and you get the, like, even this image here, you got the Christian Bale Batman on one side, and you got the Robert Pattinson suit on the other, and it's like all coexisting in the same reality. The Dark Knight stuff, you mentioned Joker, the Heath Ledger Joker, then you also have Absolute Batman will show up eventually, like you said, probably when you get that far, and you got the old OG Michael Keaton suit and stuff in there, and whatever else you might get from that. Actually looks like
they somehow managed to make the George Clooney suit look cool.
I was just gonna say, like, it looks nice. I like it. I always thought the silver suit was great, the silver accent suit.
I think that's a little bit too toyetic for me, but I will say I don't mind the blue suit. I would say in terms of like the lesser suits, because for me the best, like, of the OG4 movies, for me I think the best suit is the Batman Returns suit. I think that one, it just looks the best. I like how the helmet doesn't, or the cowl looks good, the cape looks good. It doesn't look, I feel like Batman 89, it's just like it looks clunky to me. Like I like the abs on that one more than like the metal abs on the Batman Returns suit. But for the most part, I like the Batman Returns suit a lot more. I thought like the cape looked better. The cowl looks like it actually fit Michael Keaton's head. It definitely looked more badass, so I definitely prefer the Batman Returns suit. But the Batman 89 suit, outside of the clunkiness, looks pretty good. I actually, outside of the bat nipples, the first Batman Forever suit actually looks pretty good. I like the bronze on the
No, I
logo,
like that too. Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, I like the accents. Those were really it just, it's like a Power Rangers kind of upgrade, when you get Super Ranger or whatever. But anyway, this is great. A great first. I mean, well, keep us posted on your progress. Maybe like tomorrow we'll see how far you've gotten from here on. So yeah. All right, awesome. Well, with that, let us know what you guys think about Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. We're going to continue to talk about it as John plays the game further. So in the meantime, I guess we got to talk about quick hits, John. We got some quick hits to get into, so then we could talk about DC after it. But let me hit that music for us. Oh, there you go. Let's get into the quick hits, shall we? Oh, that's the wrong thing.
There we go. Apparently, YouTube will let creators use AI to insert themselves into other people's videos. And until YouTube starts cracking down on free speech, I'm gonna say YouTube can absolutely go fuck themselves with this bullshit, because we don't like AI.
Not go wrong?
When are they going to learn? We don't like AI. It's not profitable. It's fucking up it's literally every horrible thing imaginable, but every rich dude is like, we're in too deep, fuck it, might as well. So just stop. Just stop. We don't care. Nobody wants to do this. Nobody gives a fuck. It's ridiculous.
This can go wrong in all the worst ways imaginable, because like, I think it's like Sora died, you know, a well-deserved death, but this is like taking the remix concept to the absolute extreme, and I already don't feel really good about the idea of remix, because you're just like, half the times what people do is literally just put themselves on camera in the corner of the video, just looking at the video as you watch it. Sometimes I'm watching a short, and I didn't even realize there's some dude poking their head in the bottom of my iPhone screen, and I'm like,
yeah.
And it's like a remix, and I'm like, it's just empty calories, and it's just people gaming the system. I'm sure that wasn't the intention, and some people do use that concept very well, but this, like DJ Mizzou just said, is so stupid and all the worst. It's like, they must know how this is gonna create all kinds of stupid problems. But you know what? Google, I guess, is knees deep in this stuff, so it is what it is. You should have seen this coming.
I think there's a way to like
bullshit. Like,
go. I think there's a way to go into the settings on your channel to not have your videos be re-uploaded or used. Like there is like a way.
Remix eligible.
Yeah, there is a way to do that. I forget how to do it, but yeah. So
I think you might have to do it per video, actually. Because it says if I go into details in a video, I'm just doing it right now, for example. So you go into details, and then I think you have to like uncheck. I think it's like by default you get opted into it, and then you have to like turn it off, like shorts remixing. Oh, so for a live video, you can only change it after the video is done. So if you go back to one of our older shows, let's see, there's a setting that says shorts remixing, and you can check don't allow remixing. So I'm guessing they're gonna bury this new AI functionality into the remixing category, but that means literally for every video you have to go in and set it, unless you could kind of like have it remember your default settings. But anyway, how could this not go wrong in all the ways that it can go wrong? It probably will go wrong, and create more AI slop. I hope they label it at least, but you never know. They'll probably put the tiniest logo that is hard to read somewhere in the corner that you're not looking at. So yeah, I don't get it, Caleb. It is what it is, I guess. I'm sure it will work out great. Let's move on.
Yeah, totally. Anyway, but apparently Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone costume photos reveal new look at Quidditch robes and more. So, I assume.
Yeah, we got set for. Oh, look at that! You know what? I like those robes. I'll be honest with you. Some of the costume design isn't really working for me because it feels a little over designed compared to what we got in the movies. But also, like, what we got in the movies wasn't necessarily always exactly how it was described in the books. So maybe it's my nostalgia for the movies that is throwing me off. But I like these designs. They're distinct enough. At least they're not like copy pasting what was in the movies.
Yeah, I will say it looks. Yeah. Maybe this is mean. I don't know, but
scroll up a
does look a bit.
Well, no, the other way.
To me.
Sorry. The photo. I was just.
No, I know. I'm just seeing if there's anything more.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, the how it looks here is not how it's gonna look on camera. So as long as it looks legit on camera, I just wonder, because I feel like the red as opposed to more of the black that you saw in the movies, I don't know how well that works. But we'll see when the show comes out. The only thing that really bothered, like, it just the robes and the uniforms for Hogwarts were probably the least convincing part of the whole trailer that we got a short while ago. But yeah, I mean, they've got the money to do better, and maybe this is just where we start. Who knows? But I guess we'll find out.
Yep.
When the show comes out.
Speaking of shows that are coming out, the Vought Rising trailer leaks online following The Boys season finale screenings in theaters because it was attached to that screening. But of course, like with everything, it's already got
taken down.
So,
which, you know, as to be expected. Yeah, I mean, they were setting it up this whole season, and yeah, it's the prequel series. It's coming up soon. If you guys got a chance to see it, let us know in the comments what you thought about the trailer. If you got to see it at the movies, then let us know. I do not watch The Boys, but I did read about it, so you know what?
Yeah, I've seen so many people just fucking losing their mind with how fucking terrible it is. So it's like,
yeah. I saw how the Deep gets killed off. And it just, that whole sequence to me reminds me of, again, the superhero genre has moved on, you know? And it's like that whole, like, yeah, like we have become what we hate series. And I'm glad The Boys already, I feel like we're a couple of years past, you know, their time to like head out the door. They've definitely overstayed their welcome. So I'm kind of glad that this is done now.
Well, now there's like, we're going to get another show. So the Boys train is going to keep on going. So,
but I feel like Watt Rising is probably going to be like, you know, the Walking Dead franchise where it is now, or maybe where it was a few years ago after the main series ended, and then they did like 5 spin-offs. Most of them ended up on AMC Plus, which nobody has, and half of them nobody cares for because it just was like, it's dead, bury it, move on, like, please.
It lived up to the name, literally Walking Dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, who cares about, like, I remember a person in a Discord server that like, who gives a fuck about a Nazi and a racist hooking up? Like, who gives a shit?
Hey watcher, Supergirl being in Man of Tomorrow scoop confirmed, by the way. Yeah, you know what, you are right, and we'll talk about that later. I mean, you weren't the only one scooping it, but we'll talk about it later.
Hey, The Boy sucks. Meanwhile, fire is hot. Anyway, apparently Quinta Brunson from Abbott Elementary fame to develop and star in Betty Boop feature film from Fleischer Studios and Fifth Chance Production. Can't wait for all the racists to get really annoying about this one.
She looks the part to me. I'm like, if Quinta Brunson stars in this, then I mean, it looks like
I just can't wait for all the people who don't know who Betty Boop is and have never given a fuck about Betty Boop to really start complaining about this and how it's ruining the legacy of blah blah blah, even though nobody has given a flying fuck about Betty Boop in like 60 years. But like, sure, go off, I guess.
I can't wait for this. This will be great. Quinta Brunson is an Emmy-winning actress. She will do a great job.
But yeah. Yeah, it's
I'm
just
sure
like,
you guys are
cool. I have no attachment to Betty Boop. Like,
fine.
I respect Betty Boop as, like, you know, old school golden age animation. I'm probably not gonna watch this because I'm gonna be honest, I don't give a flying fuck about Betty Boop. Although my aunt is a big fan, so I might go tell her about this. I don't know.
I mean, look, I would not have said that I would be the one watching Barbie in movie theaters 4 times when it came out, but I did, and I loved it. I am Knuff, as is Ryan Gosling and everybody else out there, but this could be exactly that. I'm just gonna like keep my hopes up and hope that this turns into, you know, one of those like, oh my god, did not see this coming. This is that good, because Quinta Brunson is one of the best actors working today. Abbott Elementary, she's won a couple of Emmys for that, and so you know what? I think this will be great, and I'll wait for them to prove me wrong. Anyway. And besides, I don't think there's enough people out there who really are that attached to Betty Boop to care either way. Like how it turns out. So.
But apparently Matt Damon and Universal eyeing a reunion on Secret Daniels project. the project that Ryan Gosling was a part of for like 2 days. And then
you had like scheduling conflicts because was it Starfighter or something else he's working on?
No, Starfighter is done filming. I think it's with something else.
Or it might have been Artemis? Or like the next Andy Weir thing, maybe?
Maybe.
But yes, Ryan Gosling was attached for like 2 days. Well, Matt Damon is familiar with Universal. He did Oppenheimer. He's done The Odyssey. So returning back again for the Secret Daniels project would be great. Yeah, the Daniels behind Everything Everywhere All at Once. Yeah. Well, you know what? Not a bad consolation prize. If you can't get Ryan Gosling, you can get Matt Damon. Not too bad.
Nice. But apparently we're getting some Bayhem. In this time, he's returning to the true story thing.
Yikes,
that hasn't
Michael
worked
Bay.
2 out of 3 times, so we'll see. But Michael Bay to direct Operation Epic Fury rescue film about 2 pilots recovered from Iran.
This has got all the... Something that is as politically polarizing and as current does not need to be turned into an immediate movie. And
yes,
besides how I feel about the actual events that this, like in terms of what's going on in the world, just focus on the Transformers franchise.
I love 13 Hours was great. I'm talking about the other two, fucking Pearl Harbor and Pain and Gain, which fucking sucked.
Actually, you know what? I like Pain and Gain. Pearl Harbor wasn't that good.
Pearl Harbor was ass. Pain and Gain. It's just the thing I hate about Pain and Gain is that it glorifies murderers, like real life murderers, and view them as good guys. And I'm like, guys, come on, what are we doing here? Because here's the thing. I wouldn't be mad about it if like the actual victims' families weren't mad about it. Like if like it was like okay, like if they were fine with it, then I can't imagine why they would be. Then it was like, okay, sure. But the fact that like they made this movie, they glorified these people, they turned them into heroes, it was like some sort of like death of the American dream thing, or like promoting the modern American dream, whatever the fuck it was. And then the victims' families of these people that they abused and murdered, and they're like, what the fuck, this is bullshit, then it's not fucking okay. Like, sorry, plain and simple. You can love the movie all you want, that's fine. But like literally the families of the people they killed were like, you're pieces of fucking shit for making this movie and how you chose to show them in said movie.
Well, we'll see what this turns into. Michael Bay directing, what are they going to call it? Operation Epic Fury? Because that's not really, maybe that's not what, that wasn't the name of the rescue operation. It's going to have a different name, but we'll see. He's still working on a Transformers thing too, so.
And he's, allegedly working on Skibbity Toilet, but I think he might have said, hey, I'm not working on that anymore, or not working on it at all, so who knows.
Yeah.
Thanks, George Carlin.
Oh yeah, no,
yeah,
I do remember that. The Ninja Turtles thing, yeah.
You know what? That was the original ugly Sonic pushback. But the difference is Sonic the Hedgehog was actually a good movie, while Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles wasn't. So
I actually did enjoy those movies. But you know what? Before we get to, we're getting so sidetracked. Let's move on. We're done with talking about Bayhem right now.
Apparently, Christopher McQuarrie's Conan the Barbarian sequel will shoot in 2027, says Arnold. Apparently, 20th Century Studios has attached a filmmaker to write and direct King Conan. So, I'd watch it. Sounds cool.
I'm gonna watch it. Thank you, Arnold. Shooting in 2027. Get the chopper. No, that's the wrong movie. But can't wait. An Arnold Renaissance is going to be happening soon. Anyway,
the difference is Michael Bay makes enjoyable movies that I actually want to go back to.
Michael Bay movies are more popcorn than most Zack Snyder films. Although Zack Snyder has, I enjoyed most of his DC stuff too. So anyway, but let's keep going. Rick and Morty movie, series veteran and talks to direct for Warner Brothers. Ew, gross. Dan Harmon, Justin Roiland created the Sci-Fi animated show that debuted in 2013. So I guess the guys who worked on the show will work on the movie. How revolutionary that would be. Actually, you know what?
Yeah,
don't go in that direction,
don't slander Snyder by comparing him to a much better filmmaker. There, I said it. At least I actually want to go and watch Michael Bay's movies. Like literally, The Rock is better than the entirety of Zack Snyder's filmography.
You were defending BVS against Civil War earlier. Let's move on.
Hey, just because I said BVS was better than Civil War doesn't make it good. It's not a good movie, but I enjoy it more than Civil War. Anyway, but yeah, Rick and Morty, the thing that's like 10 years past relevancy is apparently coming back in movie form. Why? Well, because God hates us. Anyway, James Murdoch buys New York Magazine, Vox Media's podcast network, and Vox website, and deal reportedly worth more than $300 million. So the Murdochs are not done.
Well, the Murdochs once again own New York Magazine, but also James Murdoch has been known to be like on the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of his politics and stuff with the rest of the Murdoch family. He was the one who got pushed out of, Fox. So like Lachlan Murdoch ended up with the Empire, what's left of it. James Murdoch actually is the one who helped orchestrate all the the Fox asset sales to Disney. So yeah, look, they actually apparently don't own all of it, and maybe Penske might still have like their ownership stake in all of it. So there, it's I read into it. There's a lot of stuff that we don't know yet, but yeah, one of the Murdochs one is now back in the New York Magazine game, one including New York Magazine, but in general, like that landscape. And then yeah, Vox Media's podcast network and the website. So yeah, BVS. Hey, you know what, M2G? We talked all about BVS and Civil War earlier. John has some opinions, so do I. That could be its own little show. But anyway, let's keep going.
Yep. Next up, The Testament's renewed for season 2 by Hulu as season 1 crosses 45 million hours streamed. I did not fucking realize the show came out, but I guess since
I've seen a lot of stuff about it. It's doing quite well, and yeah, season 2. I'm not surprised. 45 million hours streamed. That's a lot, obviously. So The Testaments, yeah, I didn't realize it was that far along in terms of it's so far into season 1 that they've already greenlit a season 2. But yeah, that's awesome. Congratulations. I mean, what's her name again? The actress you see there? She was in
Chase Infinity.
Chase Infinity. Yeah, she's the star of the show. So yeah.
Yep. Seth Meyers on an upcoming final episode of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. A very sad week for television in America. Very much so indeed.
Indeed it is. In many ways. But you know what? Steven Spielberg was actually on Colbert, but Stephen Colbert is gonna go out with a bang because he's got including Spielberg and Jon Stewart, a banger list of hosts or guests for his last week on The Late Show, John, including, of course, like I said, Jon Stewart, who showed up on the show, and he brought some recliner couches, as well as Andra Day. If you go to the next quick hit, yes, we did talk about the Rick and Morty movie, D. Cole, just literally 2 minutes ago. But yeah, I saw this, like Jon Stewart brought out the recliner chairs, but he's like, this is what life's gonna be like, Steven, after the show is done. And Andra Day came out, made a cameo on the show, and performed her song "Rise Up." So it's great. I mean, they also talked through a lot of their stories about their early career exploits, including how they crossed paths over the years. Of course, they worked together many a times. Like I mentioned the other day, Stephen Colbert actually predates Jon Stewart on The Daily Show, and I think both of them. Jon Stewart used to know who is now Stephen Colbert's wife, like professionally, and then through them they first got introduced through her they got introduced to each other. So yeah, exactly. You can take away a man's show, you can't take away a man's voice. And yeah, you know what? We'll see where Stephen Colbert ends up next. I'm sure he's gonna be busy with the Lord of the Rings movie for a while. Would he destroy the set? Maybe. He might auction off a bunch of pieces. It's certainly quite the privilege to have a show that literally takes place on a stage on Broadway. That is some prime real estate. I'm not saying they're gonna destroy the thing. I actually was watching a video where they did a tour of his studio, and he's got like some great memorabilia, including like Cap's shield from when Cap got killed in the comics, as well as a bunch of like other DC stuff. He's a big nerd. Like Stephen Colbert is a nerd, and of course Lord of the Rings. And he knows Peter Jackson closely. He's working with him now, so
that's just what it is. It's just I don't agree with him. I don't really like him. I don't find him all that entertaining or funny. But yeah, like say what you will, it's kind of just what could happen if certain people left unchecked. But we'll just hopefully it just doesn't get to that point. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway, Talladega Nights is coming back. One of Christopher Nolan's favorite films.
Hey, you know what? That is true. He literally said that. He did. Talladega Nights.
Like I remember, like he was on a phone interview.
What?
With
everybody has a guilty pleasure movie. For me, is Batman and Robin.
Sir President Christopher Nolan loves Fast and Furious and loves Talladega Nights.
He does.
So he was on a phone interview, and he's like,
validated.
And it was so funny because he was like, what's a remote drop movie? And he's like, oh, I love that term, remote drop. I love that so much. And he's like, and remote drop is essentially when you're combing through the channels on if you're one of the few people that still has cable, if you're combing through the channels and you see a movie you love, you drop your remote and watch the movie no matter where it is during the movie. So he's like going off of like all these like, top tier stuff, like, oh, anything by Kubrick, blah blah, and then he's like, oh, probably Talladega Nights. And then the interviewer was like, hang on, wait.
Whoa.
Are you telling me that Christopher Nolan, you are a fan of Ricky Bobby? He's like, and then
Ricky
he just
Bobby.
said it's like silent for half a second. Then he's like, if you're not first, you're last. But in like Christopher Nolan British accent, and it's just like, wow, he's so damn fucking.
You're not first, you're lost. Yeah. It's 20th anniversary, man. I want to go see it back in theaters. I would check it out. You got the Wonder Bread logo on his helmet and all. Talladega Nights is a trip. It's a trip of a movie.
I've never actually seen it. Fun fact.
Well, maybe you should go see it now. 20th anniversary on the biggest screen possible.
I don't think so. But you know,
I might go.
It
see
just doesn't seem like I'm hit and miss with Will Ferrell. Sometimes I like him, sometimes I don't. So, I don't think this is.
I liked his appearance.
personally,
I
but-
liked all his SNL stuff from last week. What is the Wonder Bread? I don't even know about that. I'm not even gonna get into that, Caleb. We're just gonna move on.
Anyway, next up, apparently, your boy James Gunn apparently is a Survivor fan, and he says vote Devons. I don't know what this
Devons or
means. 'Cause I don't
Devons?
watch Survivor.
Now, I'm guessing that's one of the people in the show.
Yeah.
He's telling them to vote for because they're doing the fan favorite vote right now. So, yeah. Good point, Caleb. But yeah, and with that, with the James Gunn shout out, that brings us to the end of the quick hits. I should choose my words more wisely than that. I did want to actually, before we don't usually do this, but I wanted to do a quick shout out for some birthdays today. Oh, by the way, you know what? Liz is not on the show this week, but we've totally forgot to do this because her birthday was on Sunday. It was Liz's birthday on Sunday, everybody. So please do wish Liz a happy birthday, if you will, because well, she'll be back next week. I guess we'll do that then, but I just wanted to kind of mention that briefly because we didn't really get a chance to do that. So but also today specifically, it was Mike Flanagan's birthday. John, that's one for you. Cher.
Yes.
Tony Goldwyn, Josh O'Connor also.
Oh hey,
celebrating his
Tarzan
birthday.
himself.
Louis Theroux, Timothy Oliphant celebrating his birthday
Timothy
today.
Oliphant is one of the many goats.
Bronson Pinot, I don't know who that is. Robert Ems.
Oh, Bronson Pinchot, he's for Beverly Hills Cop. He's the foreign guy.
Oh.
He's like, with the little diamond twist. That guy.
Oh, okay.
And fucking Perfect Strangers. That show.
Okay. Happy birthday to Liz. All right.
Or
thank you
as my friend
for
would
those
say, happy
wishes.
womb containment breach day.
That's actually a great way of thinking about it. Also, N.T. Rama Rao Jr., who's basically also known as NTR. He was one of the two leads from RRR. He was the one with the mustache. It was his birthday today. Jane Wielden, Naturi Naughton, Matt Shutry, Jack Gleason, Michaela McManus, Emily Blickfelt, Tomo Pinniket, Constance Towers. John Billingsley also celebrated his birthday. I love him from all his Star Trek stuff. Joel Fry, Ray Chase, Alex Ho Anderson, David Proval, Owen Teal, Kim Shaw, Matt McCoy, Mindy Cohn, Louisa Krause, Dean Butler, Dave Thomas, Gina Rivera, Daya Vadia Frafi, Yon Gonzalez, Kyle Harris, Marla Sucha Retsa, Yuan Minujan, Daria Ekamasova, and Alice Hukin. Also, on Today in History, Disney released in 2011 Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides in theaters. That movie was the fourth installment of the franchise, had a $400 million budget, but went on to make $1 billion. So ultimately they ended up, being in the green, or being in the black, as they would say at the box office. So yeah, there you go. Just wanted to kind of quickly shout those out. We should do like graphics, but anyway.
Anywho, but
yeah,
Dan, we're going to be in a couple seconds. #blessed.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see
right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Here we go.
Victory mine. ask me how am I doing, I'm telling you really I'm doing sublime. I never wait in the stewardess line, I just go do it, I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it, how am I moving? I'm moving like you wanna shine. Follow my lead, don't listen to lies. I had to put me all on the line, that's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Hunka hunka!
What's up? How you doing?
Welcome on into an episode of DCU Daily, of course. We got a lot to get into today. We're gonna have some what did Gunn say? What did Zack Snyder say? Speaking of significant dates, Snyder celebrating something significant to him, as well as James Gunn, doing a bit of a mini Q&A on Threads. And of course, as always, he has some insights for us, including something regarding Man of Tomorrow. And we got to talk about Supergirl. We'll be talking about, of course, lots to do with the Batman Part 2 set photos finally coming out. They're filming in the UK as we speak. Some very significant stuff that we'll talk about. And then beyond that, of course, we will get into some Lanterns talk because Season 2 may be more of a sure thing than we realize. So, John, which of those are you most excited to talk about?
I'm excited to talk about a lot of Gunn stuff because I don't know, I just like him interacting with fans. I think that's a lot of fun. Plus, we get to see a little bit more in regards to that of like what his thought process was for various things.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of wearing the DCU Daily blue today too. That's kind of on brand. But anyway, the paint on your room walls is kind of on brand too. I guess it always is. You're gonna get a suit reveal eventually. I mean, eventually. I think you're talking about the Batman, but will Lantern Season 2 have green? That's a very good question. We should ask James Gunn about that. But John, where we kick things off today on DCU Daily, of course, is what did Snyder say? Not too much, but just the one thing. He posted this on his Instagram, of course, talking about on this day in 2020, it was announced that he would be able to complete the Justice League movie that he had originally, how he originally intended for it to. And there was a special thanks that he sent out to Henry Cavill because, of course, he was doing a live watch-along of Man of Steel, and then Henry Cavill shows up at the end in the middle of, I think it was like he was building some computer or something and, making women pregnant all over the world just watching him during the pandemic. But they announced together that, for the fans who made it possible for Autumn, the late daughter of Zack Snyder, they announced the Snyder Cut, and then for the first time and maybe the last time ever, a movie was brought back to life, mostly thanks to the fans, but also, I mean, obviously HBO had a new streaming service to sell. So, but that all being said, the Snyder Cut exists now, and Zack Snyder's Justice League exists, and a lot of credit goes to the fans who did do the work to bring that to life. Now, of course, I'm not talking about the cultists. I'm talking about the fans who did actually raise money for suicide prevention. And it was a triumphant moment for those fans who put in hard work.
And now you motherfuckers won't let it the fuck go now. To the point now you're abusing
Not everybody.
the actual people.
Not everybody. But,
involved with the DCU,
fair.
so that's fun.
Yeah.
But hey, you donated
again,
to a charitable cause, so that absolves you from any wrongdoing, right? Right? Anyway.
All right, well, let's move on. So now we talk about what did Gunn say, the man who's currently in charge of DC movies. You know what, Justin Geeky Guy, I was just as happy as you were when that came out, but you know what? We're moving on to Lar Fleas. Who's Lar Fleas? That's probably something that John...
That's Agent Orange, a.k.a. The one Orange Lantern that recently got replaced in the comics with Effigy.
Okay. All right. You know what? We'll keep an eye on that, Watcher. That's your... I mean, we haven't talked about Lanterns yet. We'll get to that later. Maybe Season 2 of Lanterns might be where that happens. Or maybe Season 1. But let's talk about what James Gunn said, John. Why don't you walk it? This was great. He kind of he was like, don't follow your dreams. He's been posting clips of his speech. But what he was talking about with don't follow your dreams is, if you scroll down on this, it was more to do with sort of meet them halfway. Because like any healthy relationship, don't look at it as like, oh my God, I didn't absolutely achieve what I set out to do, as like I'm a failure. It's like in a relationship, you meet your partner halfway. no two people are the same, and so on some things you'll just have to kind of like, relationships are a bit of a compromise in a good or a bad way, but in this case mostly the good kind of way. And that's what he was trying to get across to students who are going to be getting out in the world and trying to follow their dreams. But I look at it as, I've always considered the idea of like set the bar really high in terms of what your goals are, because the higher you set the bar, the more likely it is that you will, get pretty high up there. If you try to shoot for the moon, you might at least get to orbit, like if being in a more literal sense. And I think that's essentially what James Gunn was talking about, which is a great sentiment. So, and especially for students who are entering a very strained and unpredictable job market right now. So yeah, good stuff there. But yeah, that's not all James Gunn had to say, John. Walk us through.
He said many other things as well.
Yeah.
So he had this to say in regards to Millie Alcock. Although Millie spelled wrong, will return a Supergirl minute tomorrow. We did talk about this, but James Gunn reaffirmed it, saying, "I'm shooting with her now. She's wonderful."
Yeah, actually, and that
from the man himself. Behold,
that photo is from a variety
the face
articles.
of God.
They just did a cover story on Millie Alcock as part of her role in Supergirl, and that's what that's from. So people are asking, yeah. So James Gunn confirming that Supergirl, aka Millie Alcock, is indeed on set in Atlanta filming Man of Tomorrow. So she's gonna be in the movie in some capacity. How much or how little, we don't know yet, but James Gunn has confirmed that she will be there. So that's good. That's good.
Yeah. Nice to see. Nice to see. But he also had this to say in regards to the Lanterns trailer. He was saying, someone said this should have been the first trailer. It looks great. All right, calm down. And then James Gunn was like, it is the first trailer. The other thing, doesn't even call it a video or anything. The other thing was a teaser. So because a lot of people are saying, oh, this is the second teaser. They're not showing you a lot because it's another teaser. Well, from the man himself, he said it's a fucking trailer. So eat a dick.
Well, the other day I was talking about how they.
All right, motherfucker, you liked the movie. Stop hating on it. Fuck off. Goddamn. You literally said Gunn proved you wrong. So fucking take a dick and shove it down your gullet. Goddamn, bro.
What I was trying to get at is the other day I saw somewhere that it was being labeled the official teaser 2. So it felt like they were like trying to bring more people on board with the idea that this show has a lot more, to it than what the first teaser showed. But then I went back to the DC Entertainment YouTube channel, and it is indeed labeled as an official trailer. And it makes sense because this is more of a story trailer. You get a much better idea of how the events of the season will play out. And that's what a official trailer does. A teaser kind of just teases the vibes, which I think it probably didn't do the best job of, but this trailer definitely did a much better job. So, and James Gunn clarifying that for those of us who didn't know. So cool.
Yeah.
Let's keep on going.
Let's keep it going. But apparently this person was saying all the confirmed characters to appear in Man of Tomorrow, and they say Superman, Supergirl, Lex Luthor, Brainiac, Jon Stewart, Lois Lane, Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific, Guy Gardner, the Engineer, Jimmy Olsen, Eve Tessmacher, and Rick Flag Sr. But then James Gunn is like, hang on a sec. Those are definitely not all confirmed.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, not all of those characters have been officially confirmed, and certainly not by James Gunn. And you know what? I feel the biggest reason why he probably said this is because some of those might be in contract negotiations right now. So you don't want to, like, tip that in favor of, either party by making that a public announcement until all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. So but yeah, I mean, it is a pretty insane cast, because even if you just go off the reported cast, John, which we do have another graphic for, that's still pretty impressive. Like DC Film News putting together the collage here, and while we don't know if Audrey Arjona is indeed playing Maxima or not, and we don't know for sure.
All I care about is if the Rizzler himself, Jimmy Olsen, is returning. That's all I care about.
It's still a pretty impressive cast, and whether it's all officially confirmed or not, it's still a pretty impressive cast. We know Cinco Walls is in there, Andre Arroyo, those guys were recently confirmed. Matthew Lillard, James Gunn himself confirmed it pretty much. Actually, he didn't really confirm it. He didn't say that in his post. That was reported, but it didn't come from James Gunn. So So I guess he's allowed to say these are not confirmed because he never confirmed most of these. So yeah, there we go. All right. Well, he did talk about Supergirl being on set though, so we know that
But yeah,
Supergirl's
this is pretty cool.
pretty cool. Superman
but,
and the Justice League, maybe.
But yeah, so we do have some. Hold on. There's 16. There's 17 people here. But in terms of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
By the way, guys, if you're watching, hit the like button. We do appreciate.
There's more. There's more people here than there are here, but I guess that includes the undisclosed people because those are the confirmed characters.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And you know what? You're right, M2G. Nobody has confirmed that Mr. Terrific is anywhere in this movie. We have heard that, Hawkgirl will be in there. We have heard that Jon Stewart will be in there. But yeah, I mean, we haven't had confirmations on all those. So we'll see. Again, we'll see. I mean, soon enough. There might be set photos. We'll find out one way or the other. Maybe James Gunn will confirm a couple. Yeah.
Yeah.
Steven, to your question, I mean, I feel like this is still Superman. It's not a Superman central story. James Gunn said this is not a direct Superman sequel. So because I know that a lot of people on the internet still kind of talk about it this way, including a lot of the trades. But James Gunn has been very clear that this movie is not Superman 2. It's not a sequel to Superman. It's the next story in the saga, but it's not a Superman-centric movie. So I wouldn't expect this movie to play out the same way as a Superman 2 would, which kind of like the movie from last year. It very much felt like you were watching a movie that was about Superman that happened to feature a bunch of other characters. This feels like it's more of an ensemble cast. So Superman will have to share the spotlight with a bunch of other characters like Lex Luthor, like Rick Flag Sr., like any members of the Justice Gang we may see or may not see, and of course, everybody else we've talked about, the Daily Planet crew and so on and so on. So just again to clarify, this is not a Superman sequel. It's not a Superman centric movie by way of that. We just have to remember that because James Gunn, if anything, he has been clear about it's that. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of put that out there because I know it's kind of like a weird expectation that we have that this is Superman 2 because a lot of places you see it, they do say that, even though that's not the case if you ask James Gunn himself. And he's, of course, the ultimate source on this. So, but you know what? Speaking of Superman and Supergirl is a part of that next movie. Supergirl's also in a movie this year, John, and the summer of Supergirl continues. So they did a cover article. They did a whole cover story on Variety. If you can flip over to that article really quickly so we can kind of like guide the folks that way, because if you want to read the whole interview, it is in the Variety article, John. If you click over to that for a second, that's the cover story, where Millie Alcock did like an extensive interview, and so you can go watch that or read that, and then I think there's a video around it on YouTube as well. And also, a big photo shoot, of course. So, talking to her about taking on this role, of course, all the fan, backlash, which again just seems completely unwarranted. Some of the trolls that are out there, and then of course her experience, from House of the Dragon and how that's informed the way she's approaching, Supergirl, and just again the spotlight that comes with being in a big comic book franchise and the pressure of launching a new franchise as part of DC Studios Supergirl. So, but John, we do have that article in comicbookmovie.com where they did us the favor of taking some of the best bits of that interview and condensing them into, something that we can kind of go through here. So if you don't mind, just walk us through what she had to say.
In a profile for Variety, Alcock asked about that recent Vanity Fair piece in which she also said her Westeros experience made her aware that as an actor, people, keyword being people, have a weird ownership of women's bodies, and then she kind of responded to that. I didn't even say men, I said people, and they got so angry. I was like, you're proving my point, Thank you. She added that the government's no longer having everyone's best interest at heart. People turn to online forums to find that guidance. It just creates an unhealthy relationship with a person. I guess women know that this is just how it's always been. Unfortunately, it's from a lot of people whose profiles have no photo, who are burner accounts, or someone's name and then data for Christian, which is hilarious to me. But I mean, whose opinion do you really care about? If you're pissing the right kind of people off, you're doing okay. Okay, now I'm excited for Supergirl. All right, cool. I love her now. I'm excited for Supergirl now, just because Millie Alcock is based. Fucking Millie Alcock is absolutely 100% based. Now I'm excited for this movie.
The thing is like she's got like the completely right personality for what you would expect from an act, like what people would expect from an actor. But it just seems
because
like
she's like Gen Z essentially.
Yeah.
So
It's
know
like
she doesn't
I
give
feel
a
like
fuck.
the whole I don't give a fuck kind of attitude is like, you would think that's the key, right? But it just goes to show you how baseless some people's criticisms are, and like these keyboard warriors, so to speak, like the data for Christian is like that she, again, just as she just pointed out, a random example. She's not targeting an actual dad for Christian. When I said Christian, also I think she meant that as a name. But anyway, yeah. I like that she's very, very social media, and like she's a social media native because she is Gen Z, and it just goes to show you some people out there, just you can never make them happy no matter what you do. So, and those are usually part of the vocal minority more than anything else. And yeah, if you're just gonna be a keyboard warrior behind an anonymous account on some random forum, then your opinion probably doesn't matter all that much compared to like the movie going audience that's gonna really vote for this movie with their dollars, and that's what ultimately matters.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Although she did go on to say, because sometimes people reinforce beliefs that you have about yourself, and you're like, now someone said it's true, and you've got to remind yourself that it's not. It's something I'm trying to get better at. I'm Gen Z. Yeah, I grew up online, so I'm actively trying not to engage. Although, how could you not?
It's hard. It's hard.
Elsewhere in the conversation, the 26-year-old confirmed that while preparing for Supergirl, she didn't familiarize herself with female-led superhero movies. She hasn't seen Black Widow, Captain Marvel, probably for the best, or Wonder Woman. A little sad, but which she said is probably not great. I should just lie, but honestly, still based. I don't care.
It's fine. I mean, there's no obligation to do that. It's like, how does that like help you with playing Kara Zor-El in a movie? It's just this weird fan obsession with like, oh my god, you didn't do your research with I'm like, she did the job. She did the job that she was hired to do. Like, like it's like telling me if I was like working for the NBA, that why didn't I watch all the NFL games last weekend? I'm like, that doesn't have anything to do with my job. If I wanted to watch football, I would, but like it doesn't have anything to do with when I'm cutting, a highlight for an NBA game. Like it's just completely irrelevant. So anyway, Supergirl is doing a world tour like Superman, a press tour. We don't have the exact dates and the cities yet, but they did put out like a reel kind of promoting it. It's kind of hard to gauge what that is right now, Steven, because they released that little video and then they haven't put out any details. Whereas for Superman, they came out with like a huge graphic with the dates and the cities, and then they did other video promotion. So I'm guessing they're doing something, but it's kind of like iffy right now because they haven't really come out with it, full force yet. So we'll keep an eye out for when that does happen, and we'll keep you guys posted. But it looks like they will probably do a world tour. In the video they released, they named London, LA, New York, and Paris. Those are the 4 cities. I think Rio. They named 5 cities in that video, but that could be arbitrary, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. So. But you know what? Supergirl. Millie Alcock, this is the new image, by the way, that they released. I think this was from the Variety story. Let me see if I can find the OG image I have. Again, it's just an extended version of the shot you're looking at right now. Again, the suit looks good. The suit looks great. And also, the more I see of it, the more I like the fit. And I feel like she's going to become the Supergirl, like the definitive iteration. At least right now, it looks like it. So, yeah. Fandango getting an exclusive image of Supergirl, and this just seems like, again, from one of those alien planets that we've seen a lot of in the trailers. So great stuff. All right, well, with that, we shall move on from the summer of Supergirl to the late summer of Lanterns, question mark, John? Because we've been talking about it all week. I know I'm more excited about it now because the latest trailer than you are. But the talk the last couple of days has been what's going on about the future of Lanterns, because while season 1 hasn't dropped yet, it looks like season 2 might actually be on the horizon. We talked about it in detail yesterday. And it does look like now Christopher Cantwell himself has confirmed that he has indeed come on board the DCU series for a season 2. Hi, Hosea. How are you doing? Um, uh, thank you for being in the live chat, and of course, hit the like button while you're here. But John, if you scroll down here, actually, you know what? I don't know if you have the image, but we do have, because Christopher Cantwell is on Blue Sky, and he posted uh, on Blue Sky confirming that he is indeed returning, or not returning, but he's indeed joining the writing room for Lanterns for season 2. So he said, "I'm joining Lanterns season
Hey, I
2
have that same
specifically."
ring.
Yeah. Your thoughts, Chris can't, because there's two pieces of news here. We were kind of speculating yesterday based on what Jeff Snyder said, and Jeff Snyder can be wrong at times, so it was like, take it with a grain of salt. But when the man himself, Chris Cantwell, confirms that he has indeed joined Lanterns for season 2, it to me says that season 2 is more or less happening, unless of course HBO doesn't actually greenlight it, because while HBO hasn't officially greenlit it, the fact that they've brought on board somebody as significant as a Christopher Cantwell, and they're in the preliminary stages of putting together a writer's room or reconvening a writer's room for season 2, odds are, unless Lanterns face plants when it comes out in a couple of months, they are going to greenlight a season 2. What does that tell you? Because to me, it tells me that this is HBO being really confident in what they've got on their hands. And then B, it tells me that they didn't envision this as a limited series. But that also raises questions about whether, we'll have a cinematic future to the Lanterns, or maybe if their scope of Lanterns is wide enough, some Lanterns could end up in movies like Jon Stewart, we know probably will end up in Man of Tomorrow. And then other Lanterns might continue to feature on the show, or they might just have the actors hop back and forth. So many questions. I'm kind of excited. What do you think about this season 2 of Lanterns and what that means for the Green Lantern Corps at large?
Maybe we might actually get quality with season 2. That's the only thing I can hope for.
I mean, they did say Tom King and Damon Lindelof will stay on board, although staying on board isn't the same thing as being the lead writers.
I mean, Tim Burton stayed on board for Batman Forever, and that didn't feel like a Tim Burton movie, thank God.
Right.
But it's
exactly, like, they could still be a part of the writers' room or get executive producer credits, but that doesn't mean they're show running it. Like, do you think Christopher Cantwell is actually going to be the new showrunner, or is he just coming on board as another writer producer on the show?
I hope he's showrunner, because then less Damon Lindelof and Tom King, the better. But I mean, he's worked with adaptations before. He's worked in comic books before. So I hope that he can give us something that is good for season 2. If that actually comes out.
This makes me excited, because, like, to me, this whole time I was like, this is gonna be a limited series, and then we get him transitioning to the movies. But obviously James Gunn, Peter Safran, and the folks behind the show seem to think that there is value in having an ongoing HBO show about Lanterns. And then it also tells me they might be exploring those other colors and more earnestly than we thought initially. Like, maybe that, again, it reinforces the idea that they're calling it Lanterns because it will start with Green Lanterns being the focus, but maybe down the road there will be other Green Lanterns and then other color Lanterns that'll get introduced. And you know what? Exploring the in-depth lore of the Lanterns Corps makes a lot more sense in a TV show environment than in movies, because there's just so much to get into. So yeah, if you're a fan of the Lanterns in general, this is good news. And especially with Christopher Cantwell and the work that he's done. Certainly not in the same camp as Tom King and Damon Lindelof. Does it make you any more likely to watch season 2 if he's the one show running, Chris Cantwell, John?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how season 1 goes first. I can't imagine it'll go that well, but we'll see.
Just keep up the hope, like Enterprising would say. Keep hope alive.
Yeah, I gotta get my Blue Lantern ring. Keep up the hope.
Well, let's talk about Batman. The Batman 2. It's on the thumbnail. It's the big news of the day. The latest from the Matt Reeves' epic crime saga in Gotham. We've got set photos. They're filming now. They're in Liverpool. They're back in seemingly the same location. I think it's meant to be the City Hall, or it's like a church, wherever the Riddler drove his car into. Not his car, but in the first movie, that whole scene where Bruce Wayne dives to save the kid of the dead mayor at the funeral. They're at that same location in Liverpool. set photos are now, surfacing on the internet. So they are filming in England. They're going back to some of the same old locations that they did for the first movie. John, can you walk us through some of these? Let's just go through like all the photos, because we have photos, we have some videos. There's a lot of Gotham, police cars on set. You got, the picture vehicles company cars there as well. I like that the police cars in this Gotham City look like, the Nolan era police cars, like the Crown Wicks that don't really exist anymore. But they sure as hell look good flipping around on TV, don't they? Or in the movies. Uh, I mean, Liverpool has got all this Gothic architecture. It fits perfectly, the stone streets and everything. Your thoughts on these photos? What do you think?
But yeah, still not as okay. Fuck you, Caleb. Anyway, but yeah, this we got a couple set photos. I mean, not a lot of set photos, but still, pretty good amount and looking good, I guess.
They did say that they were filming in Liverpool for one night only. They were keeping the police cars in a different spot than when they were meant to be filming. So they're prepping these cars. I'm sure that car will end up with.
We see a little bit of snow on there,
on
so that's something.
Yep. Looks like something got tossed into that car's windshield for the sake of the movie, so they're prepping it. That might be a blown tire in the back. Yeah, it definitely looks like there's snow. Sort of it. This is the Arri Alexa camera, the 65 Arri Alexa 2 65 that they're filming with. You can see the huge lenses they've got. My cat's going wild. Hey, she's gonna like drop the window on herself. But yeah, the rumor is actually not the rumor, but the reporting. If you're able to go to the link I sent you earlier, I think the account is Eggboy03.
Yeah, these are, by the way, these are a couple more set photos, by the way.
Nice. Yeah, they're just again prepping the cars. This because it looks like they're gonna be filming some kind of big chase sequence, that's gonna involve the Batmobile. So, and of course the first movie had a great Batmobile chase sequence. Yeah, it feels great that this is actually happening. This is like very tangible now. Yeah, snow. There's gonna be snow. It looks like, I mean, Matthew said it himself the other day that this will take place in the winter months in the continuity. So that's certainly exciting. But yeah, if you can, John, if you're able to go to that link, the Eggboy X account, that's where a lot of these photos are coming from, because he's from the area and he's been picking up.
Oh yeah, because it's two different continuities. So
yes, because Clayface takes place in the DCU, the Batman Part 2 obviously does not. So yeah, these two Gothams look very different. Steven saying, asking John and Dan and John, Superman and Batman in the same year. We haven't seen that. We have never seen that before.
We almost got it last year.
Yeah.
When the Batman Part 2 was supposed to come out last year.
Yeah.
And now it's been the fact that it's been delayed twice, and now it's coming full circle again with Superman and Batman coming out the same year. But it's
they are filming it right now. It's filming in Liverpool, actually, and we're gonna go through more of it right now. We haven't had. Have we had snow? We had a bit of snow in The Dark Knight Returns or The Dark Knight Rises.
The Batman Returns. It took place during Christmas.
Yeah, but I'm saying like more recently, The Dark Knight Rises took place. Like the third act takes place in the winter months. The third most anticipated of the next few years: Batman 2, Dune, and Man of Tomorrow. Third, to me, is my most anticipated. Ice to Meet You. Thank you for that reference. But if you actually can go to Eggboy's, John, if you can click into Eggboy's timeline, let's kind of scroll down, because there's a couple of things in there that I wanted to go through specifically, because they are filming for just the one night. Let's go past Mr. McMahon. We don't need to see that. Let's keep. Sorry, you gotta keep going down further and further.
Well, this is something else. So.
This is more from that same location where they're prepping all
got the
these.
Empire Theater, which I think is I don't know if that appeared in the first one, but yeah, it's definitely very
so
cool.
They're gonna be filming in I think they said the Birkenhead Tunnel it was. So they're keeping the police cars at St. George's Hall until they start filming the movie. But if you can see the post, let's see, I think I might be going too far down myself. Let's see. He put this up 9 hours ago, where tonight, as we speak, they're filming in Mersey tunnels, the Birkenhead tunnel specifically. And the Birkenhead tunnel is gonna feature it looks like the Batmobile in a chase sequence, which is gonna be very interesting. And actually, there's a story. Did you find the storyboard? There you go. That's
Yeah,
the tunnel.
that was
So that's what the tunnels look
further
like.
up. There it
The
is.
storyboard is that clicking to that looks. I don't know how he got a hold of this. Maybe this was part of the permits for filming, but that looks very interesting. Can we read into that? What does that say? So it says.
So it says Batmobile's bumper mount of high vis workers diving out of the way as Batmobile avoids the workers. Exterior long lens shot. Penguin speeds into the dark tunnel. Continues, followed by Batmobile sliding and recovering before it enters the tunnel. Batman recovers, then enters into the darkness of the tunnel. So
the bumper cam is on the. It looks like that's a camera that's looking back at the Penguin car. So they're gonna have a chasing car that's got the camera on it. That's gonna catch the Penguin's car driving into the tunnel, and then the Batmobile is going in right behind him. So that looks wow. Okay, so dude, are we getting another Penguin Batman chase scene in this movie? Like, did the Penguin not get enough of the Batman in the first movie? That's interesting. Okay, so just one night of filming, and it looks like they were prepping the cars at St. George's Hall, and then eventually when they filmed stuff, you can see I think if you go back to that Amazon, sorry, not the Amazon, just that has nothing to do with Amazon, but like the Alexa camera photo that he had, you can see that camera is on a car mount rig, because it's kind of in like the back, yeah, right there. So if you click into that, that's in like the rear window of one of the camera cars. It looks like they got it rigged up there. They're certainly not hiding it. You got the bat symbol there, and so they're using Alexa cameras, which are all digital film cameras, and they'll be shooting this car chase sequence. I can't wait to see more videos and images surface from this, because these posts were mostly made from 9 hours ago. So that means, like, in UK time now, it's like, literally early morning hours. So whatever they were filming, it looks like they have been filming that overnight. They did shoot some exterior shots in the UK yesterday as well. So they might have shot some scenics, some establishers. It doesn't look like any. It looks like this might be mostly second unit photography, so mostly stunt stuff. And none of the actors have been seen on set or anywhere in the vicinity of this part of Liverpool. But they are filming there for one day. So yeah, they were prepping the cars at that St. George's Hall area and then moving them to the Birkenhead tunnel to film this chase sequence. So yeah, police cars, Batman with his Batmobile chasing apparently the Penguin. There's a taxi that's got a New York plates on it, like a Prius. So very interesting. I don't know, John, what do you think about this? What do you think how does this all connect? There's a Pontiac Grand Prix with a Empire State plate on it that I saw as well. Old school Crown Vics as camera cars. That's nice. It's got a bit of a throwback look to it. I like it. Like, this Gotham City feels retro chic, like much like the first movie. So yeah. Set photos are always fun to look at. It's just, gives you insights into look at those like those gray Beamers and stuff. Those are just camera cars. Like, that's all they are. Like, they'll have cameras rigged onto them. They're not doing anything but, following along the action and filming the action.
Just leaving on this very important shot of Batman Part 2.
But yeah, I like this is great stuff. Look, it's the summer of Supergirl, and we're on Bulge Watch for Man of Tomorrow. But holy cow, John, we've got a Batman movie and a movie featuring Superman filming at the same time, and we'll be talking about both of them as the summer goes on. So those are your Batman Part 2 set photos as my cat climbs on my back. And I got cat hair on my mouth. Anyway, your thoughts on this, Sean? Are you excited? Anything else you
Terribly excited. Terribly excited.
You don't sound very excited. That's all I'll say.
I don't know. I kind of have to shit right now, so can we wrap it up?
Okay.
I see cat butt, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I gotta.
Yeah, and this cat butt is about to ruin my night too. So, all right, well, yeah, we'll wrap it up there then. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow with another DCU Daily. I'm sure if there's more set photos, we'll get into those as well.
Hell
but
yeah.
Thank you so much for watching along today. Set photos are always fun. I mean, it's like, again, makes the movie feel more tangible. It's happening. They're filming now, Man of Tomorrow and Batman Part 2. So, yeah, stay blessed, and we'll see you next time on another episode of DCU Daily.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you really I'm doing sublime. I never wait in the stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all on the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto. Hunka hunka!
Also, fuck Tom King and Crybaby Ellison. Not Jeff Snyder for today, because he was actually right about the Lanterns thing, so I'll give him a pass for today.